I am
you're
so
turning
done
blue
with the Kansas City Chiefs and the blatant cheating that the refs have been doing this entire NFL season. Get off of your knees and just let us compete for the Lombardi Trophy, for God's sake.
Can we get Floyd on next week, please?
All right. Second Dave, here we go.
All right. My only question is for you, David. Do you feel better?
I feel a lot better. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me tonight. I got Scooter with me tonight. And listen up, fellas. It's kind of a bittersweet moment. It's exciting because we are halfway through the season, and now we are getting closer and closer to the playoffs. But at the same time, we know that the cup is also half empty at this point. So half of the season is gone. We have a lot to cover. This is going to be a special episode for all of you guys and all of our fans. We are going to do our mid-season recap now that we are officially past the halfway mark, or right at the halfway mark of the NFL season. So definitely buckle in. We got a lot to debate. It was already getting kind of crazy off camera here right before we started this recording. So I can only imagine what's going to happen now that we are live. But before we get into all of that, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as that is the best way to continue to support us as we grow this NFL season. Gentlemen, halfway through the season, I want to start off with the team that has been the most underperforming team this year. There has been several teams out there that we are like, what the hell are y'all doing? This is not what we expected from you guys at all. But we are now at the halfway mark. And at this point in the season, your identity is kind of there. You know who the good teams are, and you know who the teams are going to be towards, the top of the draft. And looking at quarterbacks like Cam Ward and Carson Beck and, so on and so forth. So I want to hear from you guys. Scooter, your underperforming team of the year. Who do you got?
The Cowboys. Since they can't figure out if they really want to play football or not, or pay the right people or not, CeeDee Lamb is probably the highest paid and least utilized wide receiver of the group. And Dak Prescott said it best: "We effing suck." If you haven't seen the video across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, the Cowboys suck. They haven't figured out how to win. They've been riding on McCarthy's one Super Bowl win. The dude needs to hit a diet and an offensive coordinator because they can't move the freaking ball. They can't stop anybody. They got Micah Parsons injured. Dak Prescott's injured. I don't know if he's actually injured or not, or he's got sand in his whatever. The entire organization gets all this hype since the 90s and on, and they're like, oh, we're the Cowboys. It's our year. No, y'all suck. Y'all haven't won an NFC championship game since I was, 6 years old or whatever? I don't know. Y'all suck, and you have all the money to say that you don't. So live it up being the garbage of the NFC East next to the Giants. Welcome in the new reigning champions for you guys, the Washington Commanders, who I didn't see coming. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Dak Prescott can't find, a needle in a haystack, let alone tie his shoes correctly. CeeDee Lamb's begging for balls more than probably a porn star at this point. There's Jerry Jones needs to retire. Mike McCarthy needs to be fired, and they can just start over next year.
It's going to get worse for him because Dak's about to go on IR for 4 weeks. So
yep,
they're going to rely on Cooper Rush. But Cooper didn't look too bad when he came in. But
bigger waste of money would be Deshaun Watson. But whatever.
Yeah, but they're Cowboys. But the good note is if you're a Cowboys fan, you don't have to wait to be disappointed till the playoffs. You can get that disappointment out of the way now and you don't have to worry about the playoffs this year. So you're good
Playoffs?
there. Yeah. So I mean, actually, it's not about that. If you're a Cowboys fan, you got to look at the glass is half full instead of all the way empty.
Carlos,
Instead
you
of
always
getting
bring
effed
the
later, you get
optimism.
effed now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way. Diddy style. All right, Carlos, go into you for the underperforming team of the year.
Man, mine is, and I know everybody had them high up at the beginning of the year, and that's the Jets. I don't know what's going on with these guys. Yeah. I think you had them going 17-0 or maybe 16-1. But it's crazy. They bring in Tyron Smith from the Cowboys to help out with the O line. Bring in a vet with Morgan Moses. Brees isn't really having that. I mean, they got talent galore with Brees Hall, one of the top backs, and he's 19th in rushing right now. You know, he's not a 19th rushing guy. He's a top 5 guy.
Ellen's pretty good too back there.
Yeah, and he's been a bright spot. I mean, the only player on offense that's really doing anything is Garrett Wilson. He's on pace to have 110 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Right now, he's third in receiving, but they just don't have an identity. Even on defense, which is crazy, they were projected to be like this shutdown defense that was insanely scary, and they're not bad. I mean, they don't have Hassan Reddick for a lot of the year. They do get some injuries, but they still should be a lot better. And I just think there's, as a Dolphins fan, I love it, but, I can't say much because they're a year. But this is a team that was talking about winning a Super Bowl this year. And now they're the only bowl they're getting is a toilet bowl in the locker room. So
definitely been a disappointing season this year for them, especially, because like we got teased last year, and then of course all the Jets fans were like, you know what, it's okay. Aaron Rodgers, he'll get healthy. There was those rumors about him possibly coming back towards the end of last year, but they just couldn't win. And now Robert Saleh gets fired earlier, and this year they bring in Devontae Adams. It seems like now, I will say, this past week against Houston, they balled out, right? I mean, it seems like maybe they are starting to get on the trajectory.
I wouldn't say balled out.
But they went against a team that lost their 2 top receivers, in Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. The Texans have one of the worst O lines in the NFL, and I just, Joe Mixon is their big spot right now. Bright spot. Even Stroud's not even playing that great, but yes, they did win. But what's funny, if you look at these two teams, the Cowboys had all the offseason drama. There was offseason drama with the Jets where Rodgers wasn't showing up every practice. He didn't need it. And the same thing with all the negotiations with the Cowboys. And if you look at some of these teams that are doing bad, actually all of them that should be doing better, they had all this offseason drama that these other teams didn't have. So, like, you take the Bengals, we're in the same boat with Jamar and T, and like who's gonna, and they're underperforming as well. But the Jets got a little. They could bounce back if there's a team. The Cowboys have no chance. The Jets, maybe they could go on a run. There's some talents. They have a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong, but they're gonna have to gel very quickly. I mean, they won that game by Garrett Wilson hitting the Michael Jordan logo pose, one-handing a ball. Like that catch was insane, man. That makes the Odell catch like, that catch was insane. And that's what, they're not going to get that every week. You're not going to, the catch was just ridiculous, man. I don't even know how in the heck he came down with that ball.
Yeah, I mean, that catch was a highlight for sure. I mean, and it was crazy to look at. I had to look at it a few times. So, but hopefully the Jets can turn it around. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. If they don't, does Aaron Rodgers retire? Who knows what will happen?
He should.
He should. He definitely should. So, but I'm going to move on. We're going to move to a team. Carlos, you said that there might be a little bit of hope for the New York Jets. this team that I'm about to mention does not have any hope whatsoever. And that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're sitting at 2-7 right now, bottom of the AFC South, and their entire team just looks out of sync. They shoot themselves in the foot with, dumb plays, just miss calls, dumb penalties, no execution on offense. Not sure what the heck is going on with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's just not doing good. He's not who we thought he was going to be coming out of Clemson. Doug Peterson, who I originally thought was a really good hire for them. He's starting to show why he was kicked out of Philadelphia so quickly after that, Super Bowl run that he had with Nick Foles. I mean, this team is just not doing good. And to put the cherry on top, I mean, this team is really not even an American team anymore. They do better over in London than they do here in their hometown. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if they're cursed, so like some franchises. I don't know. It's hard to put a pin on like who is to blame. When you look at their stats across the board, they're middle of the pack. They're they're just a very mediocre team, right? They're not the bottom of the barrel, but at the end of the day, you're not going to find them in the top, 10, maybe top 12. So they're just a very mediocre team from the coaching staff all the way through the talent on the team, and they just don't execute. And sitting at 2-7, I was looking at the rest of their schedule. They might win 5 more games just because they have a pretty favorable schedule there towards the end of the year, but a lot of it is within division. So at the same time, those are always toss-up games. No matter how bad the team is, they're always toss-up games. They have to play Tennessee twice. They have to still play Houston and Indianapolis both. Again, they beat Indianapolis earlier. Wow, great accomplishment on your end. Indianapolis isn't doing very well either. Texans are going to be hard to beat. Titans, they're pesky, so they might split the series there. And then they have the Raiders, and someone else. I can't remember who they had. It was the Lions. Okay, yeah, you're not going to beat the Detroit Lions. So I mean, at best, they might win 5 games. And this sucks, man, because I think coming into this year when we were doing our way too early predictions, I think I had them between 9 and 11 wins this year, and competing for the AFC South, because the AFC South we thought was going to be a little bit competitive with the scheduling and everything else like that. So highly disappointed in the Jacksonville Jaguars, as I'm sure their fans are. So I do, send my condolences to all 15 of you. So, but let's flip the coin really quick and let's go to the more upside of the season, and let's talk about the teams that have really stepped up. The teams where you look at and you go, okay, these are legitimate teams, possibly playoff contenders, and they could even be a dark horse to make a deep run into the playoffs if they continue to play that they have played. These teams are the teams that we didn't necessarily have circled at the beginning of the year, but now we do. Carlos, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? I'm excited to hear what you have to talk about.
I'm going to go with a team that's, they're not like that 6-2, 7-1 right now. It's just a team, I think, going into the year where a lot of folks were like, rookie quarterback, not even sure who's going to start. Is it going to be Zach Wilson, Bo Nix, talking about the Denver Broncos? And then, their defense last year was good against the pass, but when you have Patrick Surtain, I mean, it's not a bad defense, but their rushing defense was 30th. But, Bo Nix is slowly putting it together. The defense is outstanding. It's the 6th best defense in the NFL right now. And honestly, if it wasn't for the Ravens game last week where the Ravens put up 5 touchdowns on them, they would have only given up 12 touchdowns going into that game, which is, you're barely over 1 a game. You're going to win some games if your defense is holding opponents to around 10, 13 points. But, the defense is playing real well, 3rd in scoring, they only give up 17, and that's inflated because the 41 they just gave up to the Ravens. last week. So, I didn't have them. I wasn't very high on them, mainly because of the quarterback. You don't know what you get out of Bo. We know what we get out of Zach. They trade away Jerry Jeudy. You're looking like Cortland Sutton. There's not I mean, Tim Patrick was their second best receiver. They don't have a high end tight end with Dolich on there. The O-line's playing pretty decent, but the defense is keeping them in, putting that offense in good positions. But if Bo keeps growing, man, they've got some games coming up. I don't foresee them beating the Chiefs. So there's 2 games there, but they've got very winnable games with they have the Raiders, the Colts, still to come up. They lost against the Chargers, but not by much. So there's a potential that they could pull that win off. And then they've got the Bengals, which, the Bengals are hit or miss, and that game kind of plays more into the Broncos because the defense isn't real good. So, and the Bengals, they thrive on the pass. So, I mean, and that pass defense with the Broncos is lights out. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go from there. They've got some tough games against the Falcons. As you guys being Bucs fans, you definitely would love that as an upset. But there's 4, potentially 5 more games. If going into the season, somebody told me the Broncos would win 9 games, I'd be like, get out of here, man. No way. They might win 4 or 5 at the most, but they're putting it together, man. It's Sean Payton doing Sean Payton things, and you guys as Bucs fans hate that, but he's a good coach, and they're getting it all together, man. They're just a couple pieces away.
Yeah. Scooter, what do you got? Help me God if you say the Buffalo Bills. We all know that you like to. We all know you like the Bills, but who do you?
That was one team on my list. That was one team on my list because I didn't. If you told me Buffalo would be 7-2 in 9 games, I would have told you hell no. But some things happen, and they're 7-2.
I mean, they're the best team in the NFL. Let's be real. No. If I had a team to pick that is a surprisingly decent or good team right now, Arizona Cardinals. When I look at their stats and how they've played, they've won the last 4 games in a row, one of which was against their division rival in the 49ers, and they beat the Chargers, so they're beating guys regionally. And, I mean, some of their games are really tight, and if you look at their stats, they're actually outscored, outpassed, and outran in pretty much every category, but they still figure out how to win. I'm not sure how that maths out because they've been outscored. Again, maybe the last 4 games have made up for their incredibly bad beginning, but Kyler Murray's not doing spectacular, but he's not exactly turning the ball over super badly like Patrick Mahomes is right now, minus the Bucs game. So they're number 1 in their division too. Like, we looked at the 49ers and we looked at the Rams. Rams had injuries and the 49ers just imploded with injuries. And then somehow we have the Cardinals as division leaders right now. I think what they got going on in the youth and everything else, and their defense is playing phenomenal the past 4 games. So there's that. I think there's something clicking for the Cardinals right now, and seeing them kind of rebirth in the West is very awesome. In how we watch Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers react to getting some guys back and getting their rhythm back, and Purdy clicking again, and then Matt Stafford and the Rams, it's so 50-50 every week. Like, do you throw 2 interceptions or do you throw 4 touchdowns? Like, I don't know what's going on. And then the Seahawks had the best passing offense in the world, but couldn't run the ball, ironically, with Kenneth Walker, but it also couldn't stop anybody. The West, to me, is open for grabs. I like the Cardinals and their hot run right now. I'm not really sure how long it lasts, though. So that's the kicker for me. I like them right now. I think they're my surprise team at mid-season. If we have the same conversation 8 games from now, or 7 games from, or 9 games from now, I might be singing a different tune.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals are a team that they've definitely been impressive over the past 4 games. Just like you said, especially with their defense, what they were able to do last week against the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. And as much as we like to slander Caleb Williams here,
He sucks.
The
Whoa,
guy's
not
been doing
we.
good. Not
He
you, Carlos.
sucks.
I understand.
I will
So
give. I mean, the Cardinals do, and Gannon is a defensive coach from the Eagles, and that when he was with the Eagles as the DC, that defense was really good. But like the math ain't mathing. Like, how do you're behind in a lot of stuff, but you're winning. But that's all that matters. I never would have thought the Cardinals would be the first place in that division. One, I had the 49ers going 13-4. Okay, well that's out the window.
yeah,
And the Rams right behind them, and then Seattle. Like we knew that, but that division's competitive. We all agree that would be a very competitive division overall. Like that, it's shaping out. But the Cardinals they're finding they're finding their way.
They're legitimately outscored by a +1 on the rushing touchdowns, and then like the kicking game is like essentially even. And then you look at the points per game, it's 30 or 23 for Arizona and 23.8 for your opponents. Like, I'm not sure how the NFL does their math in win-loss. Like, if you were to take the stats at raw value, you would think they'd be a 5-5 or 4-14, but they're 5-4 right now on the top of their division.
yeah. I want to go to so my surprise team of the year. Actually, we need to shout out this rookie draft class for the quarterbacks. We have been absolutely blessed. Oh geez, I knew you were gonna say that.
Hey, not his fault. Like he is playing his ass off. He's scrambling that game, and then DJ Moore decides, well, he's going to get sacked. Caleb breaks out of it on the sides, and DJ Moore just walks off onto the bench. Like, come on, man, what are you doing? If he cuts back across, Caleb hits him 100%, but the guy goes and takes a seat on the bench, just assuming he gets. Come on, give this kid, come on, DJ.
Didn't DJ Moore do that last year?
Literally, it looks like he's going to get sacked. Yeah, it looks like he's going to get sacked, but he breaks it, and DJ just gives up.
I'm done.
Yeah, he's just like, not my job. I get paid to catch balls, not do anything else. So
he does get back on the field and run back across.
My surprise is the Washington Commanders, led by rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. This guy is all that in a bag of blue Doritos, man. I love this kid so much, man. He is so freaking awesome. The Commanders are sitting at 7-2 on top of the NFC East, which honestly is
we were so wrong.
Yeah, imploding before
way wrong. I apologize, all Washington Commander fans, and I'm taking the foot out my mouth and just putting it right up my ass
for all of us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Way wrong.
Way
I take
wrong.
back the RG3 comment too.
We apologize for underestimating and not appreciating what you guys have been able to do ever since getting rid of Dan Snyder. I mean, this organization has completely turned it around. Dan Quinn is there. He has his defense doing really well. They keep the team, this Commanders team, in every game, which is exactly what you want to do for your young quarterback. And then when your young quarterback is balling out the way that Jane Daniels is balling out, the guy has almost 2,000 passing yards. He's just shy of 500 rushing yards. So right here at the halfway mark, we're looking at a possible 4,000 passing yard and 1,000 rushing yard for a rookie quarterback. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. But when you look at this team from top to bottom, they look like they're having fun. All of them are on the same page. And just today, breaking news, they got Marshawn Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints. So that just bolstered up their defense in that secondary. This team is going to be one to watch. I'm excited to see what Jaden Daniels continues to do. But Commanders, congratulations. You got yourself the quarterback of the future, and he has a young team around him you guys can do a lot of damage. Let's not forget Dan Quinn did lead the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. Now, it was 28-3.
He forgot there's 2 halves. That was
Right.
the only mistake.
Exactly. So, Dan, keep your head in the game because there's still a second half year of football. Let's not see a 28-3 4-year season this year for the Washington Commanders. But I don't think that's going to happen. This team is exciting to watch. They look like they're having a lot of fun. I have fun watching them, and I'm excited to see what they can do because I have them now winning this NFC East, which is honestly imploding before our eyes. I don't trust the Eagles. They're just not. They're not what we thought they were going to be. Dallas, I mean, it's awesome to see what Dallas is doing, and then the Giants. I mean, they're pretty much on par with our expectations. So shout out to the Giants for keeping it consistent there. But I love the Washington Commanders. I love Jane Daniels, and I'm really excited to see what the second half of the year. So enjoy this year, Commanders fans, because y'all might be a dark horse to shake up some things and to pull off an upset in the playoffs if you guys get in the dance.
Do you have them right now, like NFC wise? Like, where do you think I have them probably the 4th best team still in the NFC.
I had them as the 3rd best team in the NFC behind the Detroit Lions and the
Falcons. Just say it. It's okay. I'm here for you.
I was going to say the Minnesota Vikings.
I
would say that they're the 5th best team then. Or
yeah,
4th.
I could go 4. I have Detroit, the Packers, Atlanta. I still can't count out Philly when Philly gets healthy. Yeah, but I was wrong earlier for the Commanders. So what the heck, man? You guys are probably going to win the Super Bowl.
I have them as 4th just because they're the conference leader. I'll give them that.
I thought the pickup of Lattimore was great, but their rushing defense is lacking, and I wish they would have addressed a little bit more at that defensive line. But they have a good defensive line. It's just not performing, so maybe that's more of a
need more beef. I feel like they need like a guy in the center to just be there.
But Bobby Wagner looks like the old Legion of Boom Bobby Wagner, man. That guy's 76 tackles already. Man, that guy, I don't know what Gatorade they're giving him, but Jesus.
So looking at the rest of the year for the Commanders, this week they have the Steelers, then they have the Eagles, Cowboys.
Steelers is a loss.
Steelers, they're pretty good.
Steelers,
they just picked up 2 big free agency guys. Yeah. That's a loss.
Yeah, the Steelers were actually a team that I thought to be my surprise team of the year. But then I was like, Mike Tomlin, he always wins, so maybe not. But shout out to the Commanders. So, but now let's go and let's break this down a little bit more, gentlemen. Sometimes it's the NFL is a team sport, but we always have superstars. There's always those players that stand out, men amongst boys, when you talk about some of these superstars. So let's start out on the positive note because we are going to talk about the players who have overperformed and exceeded our expectations, and then the players that have underperformed and have not met our expectations whatsoever. And Carlos, I know that you have a guy here that has been exceeding expectations by a large margin, and I want to hear about it this year.
I got 3, but I'm going to go with 1 because this guy does not understand you're close to 31 years old. You're not supposed to be doing what you're doing anymore. And I get he's got a new team. I expected him to have a 1,000-yard season, maybe even 1,200. But Derrick Henry, somebody's got to tell him you're almost 31. He's on pace for 1,800 yards plus, 20 touchdowns. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing every day? Because whatever he's doing, I got to do a little bit of it. But that guy, he's just at this point in every running back's career, it's going down, and he's going up. Like, it doesn't make the math ain't mathing. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Has for that guy.
It hasn't. If you look at his carries in high school, college, and the pros, his body should be in pieces. Like, the amount of carries that this guy's had over from the time he stepped onto a high school field is astronomical. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like how many times he could carry. I get high school he was bigger, but in college he's bigger. But you're at Bama. You're still taking big hits, and then in the pros, like it just doesn't matter. I just don't know. I'm mesmerized by this guy, man. That he's still pulling away for people. He turns 31 in January, and he can still break it and pull away from people at his size. Like, man, the guy's he's a marvel, man. I'm just waiting for a cape to come out the back when he's running and take off. Like it doesn't make any sense.
If Mortal Kombat met the NFL, you would have Derrick Henry as the running back. That's how that works for me. Dude's like 6'4", 240, 250, and just stiff arms, full grown human beings that are elite athletes. It makes them look like rag dolls, and then runs at like 21 miles per hour down the field, smiling at that too, straight up. Like he runs people over like he's Jerome Bettis, and runs like he's Eric Dickerson or LaDainian Tomlinson with these one cuts, man. Like I don't know what's going on in the Derrick Henry camp, but John Harbaugh sitting there going, "Thank you, Jesus," somewhere. Like, and Lamar's like, "Oh, I don't have to run 40 times a game now." So if you're a Ravens fan, you hit the absolute lottery with Derrick Henry. If you're a Titans fan, you're going, "Oh my God, we made the worst decision ever."
And if you're a Cowboys fan, you're just crying.
Absolutely, dude. You guys missed out on
the
lottery win.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
You're looking. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you're going, "Why didn't we take Derrick Henry again there, Jerry Jones?" And he's going to go, because he's having a stroke in the owner's box. But Derrick
would have got him cheap. I mean,
dude, like for real,
$8-9 million. Like
you said 1,200. I would argue Derrick. If the Ravens keep up their play, I would argue that Derrick Henry could potentially hit 15 and maybe like 15 touchdowns, like kind of like a weird round number, right? And man, Fountain of Youth, the guy is huge on top of that. Like, he just doesn't stop. He's got great motor. He's just a good dude to be around. And he understood, I think in some of his interviews with different podcasts, Derrick Henry understood, like, the elite guys that are coming out to hit and run against and the key defenses come out of the SEC. And he ran through championship teams, let's be real here, at Bama. And he understood how to play in the NFL. And any NFL owner or GM was going, Derrick Henry. Like, and the Titans just fell right in the lap, and they just blundered it like they did with Chris Johnson and Eddie George. Like, and then you get to the Ravens, and you're like, why? That's a very good pick, dude. I mean,
yeah, I like it a lot too. Everything about it doesn't make sense. I mean, Derrick Henry is one of those guys who you look at and you're just like, "How are you human?" I don't know.
He's the Terminator, dude.
I don't know if he's
the only
human.
thing that would top that is if David runs a 5-flat 40. Then we've hit a different, like, what the hell is going on with the world?
Should we do a run, David, run?
No, I don't. There is an ER by you to fix your hamstrings as they explode, but we'll just say you did it. How about let's go with
have enough explosive power to pop a hammy, so I think we're good with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would even be possible. Has a turtle ever blown a hamstring? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think I'm safe on that one. I think I'm safe on that one. So, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take this opportunity and allow Scooter to catch his breath, because I'm going to pick my guy. And this guy, you know what, man? We underestimated him, and I don't even think we looked at him. And that's Sam Darnold. Coming into this year, we didn't even have him as the starter for Minnesota. Once they picked J.J. McCarthy, we were like, okay, he's going to be the starter now. Granted, if J.J. never got hurt, would that have been the case? Most likely. But Sam Darnold has been absolutely awesome to watch. And the best thing about it is that the Minnesota Vikings, this team really loves Sam Darnold. Like the this last game that they just played this last week, they were interviewing Aaron Jones I'm sorry, they were interviewing the safety Harrison Smith, right? Is that his name?
Smith.
Yeah. So, and they were asking him about Sam Darnold, and he's just said from the moment he came into the locker room, we knew that we had our leader. Just the way that he presented himself, the way that he communicated with us, the way that he conducted himself. And so, I mean, shout out to the Minnesota Vikings for getting this guy from San Francisco. Now, granted, again, it was probably just a depth piece, but you can't take away from what Sam Darnold is doing in Minnesota the fact that they are competing, for this highly competitive NFC North right now, and are in every single game. There's been no game that they have just been absolutely destroyed, and Sam Darnold is doing his thing. He's not. He's 15th right now in the league as far as passing. And then he has 17 touchdowns, which is tied for fourth place. 7 interceptions, so he's keeping those turnovers down. I love what he's doing here in Minnesota. And yeah, Sam Darnold, hats off to you because you have exceeded, I believe, almost every NFL fan expectation this year.
And Kevin O'Connell goes down as the QB whisperer because he went from Kirk Cousins and in like 6 backups in winning games, and then all of a sudden you get JJ McCarthy that falls into your lap, and then you're like, sweet, and then gets injured, and you're like, all right, Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold, when he came into the league, was one of, and I don't remember who specifically said it off of the ESPN analysts, but they said he was one of the best ball spinners and throwers to come out of USC in a very long time, so probably since Carson Palmer, because we all know Matt Leinart was a complete joke in the NFL. And then he goes from the Jets to the Carolina Panthers to the 49ers, and then he lands in the lap of Kevin O'Donnell and just finds his groove in the offense that caters to kind of his play. And you have Aaron Jones to complement you on top of that. The offensive line and the defense for the Vikings have played phenomenally as well, that we completely underestimated. Again, if we could go back and redo our win-loss records and everything else and our predictions, sorry for completely underestimating the Minnesota Vikings defense. We suck. We understand we're just dudes talking football. But Sam Darnold in this conversation in the top 10, top 15 quarterbacks and being bounced around the NFL like you're basically Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, kudos to him for keeping that morale going and then finding your groove with the right system, right team, right coaching staff. Kevin O'Connell's putting it right in the lap, man. JJ's happy. Aaron Jones is happy. They're winning games. They got to compete with the Packers and the Lions of all, right? The NFC North is definitely where it's at.
Yeah. So who do you have, Scooter? Who's your surprise, or you're the guy who's exceeding expectations for you this year?
Let's bake! Let's go, Baker Mayfield, man. Okay. 2,389 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Most of them came in the last 3 games. We understand that. Yeah. Baker Mayfield, I think, is on point. We were talking offline about this, about 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns or something like that. If, as a Bucs fan, saying that from your quarterback and they're not named Tom Brady, you're like, yeah, that's not happening, man. The way our offense is clicking with Baker Mayfield right now is if we were to have this same high, if I could go back and slap myself in the beginning of the season, I would. Because doubting Baker Mayfield is the dumbest thing I think I've done as a fan, and as we've gone through this podcast, dude. He has shown up and showed out every single game. And I know the fans, I've argued with you online about this. It's not Baker Mayfield. He's putting the ball downfield. I got it. He'll throw the interception from time to time, but we're moving the ball down the field. I don't care if it's Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Kate Otten's finally showing up, and then Sterling Shepard's coming out of the nowhere from retirement type deal. We got Jarrett from the Falcons and coming off of IR on like third string practice squad catching, and McMillan as the rookie. Like, the offense is just moving down the field, and I just wish our defense would play some ball. That's just me going on a tangent there. But Mayfield to me is on par to potentially be in the MVP conversation. A lot of stuff actually has to happen, in all honesty, like the no more turnovers type deal, and be consistent with his accuracy. I think he's probably one of the most accurate guys under 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. And I think that's a Cohen offensive coordinator type build there. I think there was one stat thrown in the last Chiefs game where he threw more passes to tight ends and running backs than he did to wide receivers. He only hit like 2 wide receivers, and he hit 2 tight ends and like 3 running backs. So, and that's all scheme, right? And strategy. And what we've seen with Baker is when you let him game out, right, and you let him see the field, things kind of get 50-50. When you start catering to these quick throws and more strategic, planned out plays, things are a lot better, and we start moving the ball. We as the Bucks, I think, are 54 to 55% on the third down conversions, which is, I believe, the highest in the NFL. Kudos to Baker Mayfield, regardless if it's 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 15 or 16, I think was last night. We're still converting, man.
I think the average for that is actually 3rd and 6. And yeah, we were at like 53%. We're number 1 in the NFL for that. And the fact that Baker what the
Baker
heck just happened,
Mayfield, man.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield is doing this without his top wide receivers, and he's just able to find. Now, granted, Kate Otten has really been stepping up over the past several weeks when he was pretty quiet, in the earlier part of the year. But this team, I mean, they've bought into Baker being their guy. I've never been a Bucks fan and been like, I'm not worried about our offense. I'm worried about our defense. It's a weird time to be alive right now. It's a Bucks fan.
No kidding, man.
But I love Baker Mayfield and what he is doing this year. Scooter, you said something about MVP talks, and I want to get to our mid-season MVP candidates. And Carlos, you've been kind of quiet. You've been doing some notes over there. I don't know what you got cooking up in the lab, but I know that you knew that this conversation was coming, so I'm definitely interested to see who you have as your mid-season MVP winner.
There's only one MVP.
He's writing down my pharmacist on all the drugs that I'm taking. That's what he's
doing. Man, and I'm hard on this guy, like talking to people outside on work about him. I swore he will never win an NFL championship or a Super Bowl, and he might do it this year, and that's Lamar. He's already got two MVPs. Like, I don't see how he doesn't get a third, and he is my fantasy quarterback, so I don't even want to say what could happen here to him. But on pace to close to rushing for 1,000 yards, 4,500 yards passing. He's pacing in a total of 40 touchdowns, and he's got weapons galore, man. I don't see how that train stops. He's got Henry, Andrews, Deontay Johnson now, Zay Flowers, Bateman. Likely, if Andrews go down, you have possibly your backup is just as good or better than your starter. So he's just playing outside his mind. What he did to the Broncos defense last week, I was not expecting that in any aspect. I thought, I didn't think they would put up that many points against that defense. Lamar is just playing out like he's doing everything right. He's making the right reads, the right throws. He's running. He's got now even easier the play action because you have no choice but to respect the run between. you got a guy who's possibly going to run for 1,800 and then the quarterback's 1,000. Like, come on, like it's unfair at this point. Like, but this guy's playing, man, phenomenal. I don't see what's stopping him other than knock on wood that he doesn't go down with an injury. But he's just, man, he's fun to watch.
Yeah. Definitely fun to watch. I do not blame you for picking him as your MVP candidate for this midseason. Scooter, so help me if you say Josh Allen. I know you're a Bills fan. Are you going to say Josh Allen here?
How do you hit exit? How do you do the exit? Where is the exit?
Scooter,
no, man, you don't. You just accept the fact that Josh Allen is going for the MVP conversation. He only turned the ball over 0 times before week 8, sorry. And then he finally threw an interception. Dude's playing fantastic. Josh Allen is not doing the forcing function for the Bills anymore, man. He's got James Cook. He's got Amari Cooper now. He's got Kincaid, Shakir, and God, his name eludes me right now. But the defense is finally showing up and locking dudes down. I know they messed up on 2 games with the Texans, and I can't remember the other game, but they're clicking, man. McDermott and the culture that they've built in Buffalo is legit. Now, Josh Allen has 2,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 211 yards rushing with only 3 touchdowns rushing, which is a lot different than last year. And he was on pace to run for 20 touchdowns rushing and not so much on the passing and turning the ball over at least twice a game. Now, again, being on the cover of Madden and everything else in the previous years. So I think Josh Allen has kind of understood his role in the offense right now, in that he is supposed to score instead of turn the ball over. He's still the strong arm guy. He will throw the entire length of the football field. We're not joking there. And he will still run people over and hurdle them. He's a force. He's like Derrick Henry meets quarterback. His accuracy this year, I think, is the difference maker in his MVP discussion versus previous years and just forcing function of the field and playing from behind. Now, being in the AFC, you still got to get through Baltimore and Kansas City. God, oh, man, that hurts.
Yeah, I don't like Kansas City right now.
And then you got, yeah, man, I knew when we did that prediction and we were going to be right. And then we saw it last night. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me right now. But
yeah,
I think Josh Allen and what Sean McDermott have going on in Buffalo and the guys that they put around him, especially Amari Cooper, dude, excellent route runner, excellent hands, and finally someone to really throw to him for once besides, whatever jokes they had in Dallas and at the Browns. I would love to see how this plays out the rest of the season. I know it gets a little tougher for the Bills moving forward, but I got Josh Allen. But in the MVP conversation, I would love to see him win it, though. I know Lamar is definitely on track to do some really stupid statistical stuff. But, Dave, I don't know who you got, dude. Because these 2 guys between Lamar and Josh Allen, man.
I'm going to go with the guy who I predicted in the very beginning of the season because he is living up to the hype and the word that I predicted. And that is none other than Jared freaking Goff. Okay?
Can I quit?
Jared Goff has they are arguably the best team in the NFL that does not have the refs on their side. Okay? So Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, sure, they're 8-0, but let's just be honest, there's some very big questionable marks. And no one is talking about Patrick Mahomes talking about him being the MVP this season. He's underperformed big time with that. But Jared Goff, I understand some of his stats aren't the most sexiest. Okay, I get that. He's thrown for 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns, but only 4 interceptions. But if you look at what he's able to do and the leadership that he brings to this Detroit Lions team, he's doing everything that an MVP candidate should be doing for their team, and that is leading them to victory week in and week out, no matter the conditions, no matter where you're playing, no matter if you're having to play from behind or if you're playing ahead. He's doing it everything textbook. He's my MVP. He should be this year's MVP, and I will die on that hill until he proves me otherwise.
I was just on the Jared Goff fan club, and it's weird that David's picture's on the front. Like, I didn't.
No. You got it wrong, Carlos. If the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell had an OnlyFans page, Dave would have been the first subscriber.
Drink that coffee, Dan.
Yeah.
Yes. Drink it.
Use the
that
straw.
Got really weird. I don't even know how to respond to that.
On to the worst performing players.
Oh my god!
You can't argue with me though. The guy is playing really good, and the Detroit Lions are scary. They're probably the scariest team out there right now. Let's be real.
They're good, and they just got better. So
they did.
Yeah, they got a little bit. They were able to replace the Hutchinson going down. Like, that was a big loss for them.
I'm surprised they did that, man.
Loss, but it doesn't matter when you have Jared Goff as your quarterback, because you know that you can win games.
And you're scoring with your second string tackle. Like,
yeah, fair enough, man. Ben Johnson, he needs to come to Tampa next year in a heartbeat.
Please,
so
if the Bucs are listening.
So if there is anything that I can ask for this NFL offseason. So, but yes, let's go on to the underperformers of this year. The players who have just been like, what are you doing? What are we doing here right now? Because you were supposed to be good. I counted on you. I got you in fantasy. Why aren't you helping me win games? And Scooter, let's start with you. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
I'm going to steal a line from Floyce on this one. When Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw an interception, it's probably against the Bucs. Patrick Mahomes is my underperformer of the year award, at least at halfway, dude. At 1,900 yards, the most, like, his completion percentage, I don't know. Okay, first off, I'm just going to say this now. Todd Bowles needs to be fired. That defense was absolutely atrocious. We left the entire running game was god-awful, and the middle of the field was more open than Anna Cole Smith's legs. So you got Patrick Mahomes at 1,942 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Dude's throwing an interception like every single week, and he's supposed to be the GOAT. He's not playing like he's the GOAT until he plays the Bucs on Monday Night Football, and he throws 10 or 11 of 12 third down conversions for first downs, and then throws for like 80% completion. I'm so pissed right now.
But it's easy when your right tackle gets a head start.
Okay.
By 5 yards.
Okay.
What the hell was that?
Okay. No. Okay.
What the hell was that?
He did that in the Super Bowl a lot.
Okay.
Like, he was offside in the Super Bowl.
It's every time. And it's every freaking game. Every single time.
Okay.
And God help me if they show Taylor Swift one more fucking time.
Sorry, I gotta pick up these worms that I opened. Hold on.
Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the damn New England Patriots with Tom Brady. I'll take that 10 times out of 10. I can't.
Hey! Watch out for that blood vessel.
Chiefs team, because it's just so blatant. It's so blatant. You're 5 yards in the backfield, and before the ball even gets into your quarterback's hands, and the rest are like, I didn't see a damn thing. But when they want to call something on your team, who is going up against the Chiefs, they will happily throw it without an absolute moment of hesitation. So don't ever worry about it. And looking at the rest of this NFL schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're probably going to go undefeated. And then we're going to get this whole thing. I am so done with the Kansas City Chiefs and the blatant cheating that the refs have been doing this entire NFL season. Get off of your knees and just let us compete for the Lombardi Trophy, for God's sake.
Can we get Floyce on next week, please?
All right. Singer Dave, here we go.
All right. My only question is for you, David. Do you feel better?
I feel a lot better.
All right. Just checking.
All right. Dave's rant represents everyone I pissed off on the internet the past 48 hours. All right. Yeah, Todd Bowles still needs to get fired.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal that from you, Scooter. It just really pissed me off. I was so done.
I'm gonna throw my guy in real quick. And that is man, Jalen Hurts. He's not. I just expected more out of this guy. They had the end of the year down last year, and I know he's got a new OC, but just expected more. I mean, the guy's right now the 20th best quarterback comes to passing. He's barely on pace to throw for 3,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. That is not what you would expect out of this guy who really came into the NFL. I am not a Jalen Hurts fan. Never was. I feel CD Lamb bailed him out at Oklahoma at the end there, and he got beat out by Tua at Alabama. I am not a Hurts fan. I kind of feel like he's just this is who he is now. I mean, he's got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, one of the best offensive lines, Dallas Goedert. And you're only going to throw for 33. Like, come on, stop. And you play the Cowboys and the Giants. There's 4 games there you should easily get some yards out of. So, yeah, he's disappointing, and how if he doesn't ramp it up, the Eagles don't have a shot. They've got a good record, don't get me wrong, but right now, not to be negative Eagles fans, but Saquon never makes it through a whole year uninjured. His play last week was amazing, the jump backwards over somebody, but eventually Saquon's been known to go down with some kind of an ankle or something happens to him. So that you're going to have to ride that bus before it breaks down. So he's got to get together if the Eagles expect a shot at winning.
I think Jalen Hurts reminds me of like a, Donovan McNabb, with, Andy Reid. They have all the athletic ability, the arm, and the running and everything else to play action, but like at the end of the day, it's kind of like mid stats, and there's no Super Bowl.
I mean, he had great receivers at Alabama that made him better, and literally at college, CD Lamb made him look way better than he really was. I'm just not a fan of the guy. Yeah, I just think you got a mid. You got a good backup as your starter. I just don't think he's a top-end starter in the NFL.
He should definitely be producing more with everything that he has around him. Top offensive line.
Oh, for sure.
Great running back. 2 top wide receivers. Their tight ends even not that bad. And, I mean, it is. It has been a very underwhelming performance from Jalen Hurts. Not to take anything away from their success, because they have had success. And not to take dude, Saquon Barkley. That backwards hurdle was insane. How do you even think of that? You know what I mean? So
just go for it and pray your back doesn't break in half.
Yeah, fair enough. Seriously.
Broken hip, something
and
like that.
That's how Saquon gets injured halfway through the year, because he does stuff like that. So
it's every year
full circle.
It's always an ankle.
Okay, so but to play devil's advocate really quick, he was always behind an atrocious offensive line with the New York Giants.
Yeah, but he still, the ankles are more him. Like, it's either a bad tackle. It's mainly coming from tackles, but
is it just MetLife? Is it MetLife Stadium?
It could be.
It might be. Honestly, it might be.
It just might be. But he got hurt the one year against the Bucs, and he was at Ray J. So I think it's just him. I hope not. The kid's a dynamic running back. I don't want to see him hurt by any means. But it just seems to be his MO, man. I play great. I'm blown. But, maybe this is a year he stays all the way healthy all year long.
We'll definitely see. Guys, I don't know about you, man, but, I feel like I just had therapy. It was great.
That was classic.
You went past red to turning blue. And I was just like,
he's still going.
I was about to text over there to your wife, Maria, and be like, hey, you might want to check on David. Just get 9-1 ready and then hit the other one.
Yeah, get the other one done.
I'm sure the neighbors will be down shortly.
Yeah, I'm okay. No worries. Not the first time they've heard me. So I'm going to go to my player that has been underwhelming. And I feel like that I'm one of the rare guys who can talk about this. because I was very high on this guy, and that's Anthony Richardson. I was high on Anthony Richardson coming into this year with more expectations than what he has been doing. If you look at everything, right? Shane Steichen, offensive guy, great quarterback. I mean, look at what he did for Jalen Hurts there when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. Then he comes, he gets the young quarterback, he gets Anthony Richardson, they pick him 4th overall, and they have Jonathan Taylor. They have a mid offensive line. It's nothing, fantastic, but it's also not bottom tier. And then he has weapons. They got Josh Downs, you got Michael Pittman. and then they have a half decent defense. But what he did a couple weeks ago, and I'm not even going to go on, another rant about it because we already talked about it last week. But what he did, and just by quitting on his team when you weren't injured or anything else like that, and you're performing the way that you are performing, I mean, this Colts team can win, right? I mean, Joe Flacco's doing with it, right? Well, against Minnesota, not so much, but that's Minnesota. But what the heck is going on with Anthony Richardson? I mean, it's like, really, he should be doing better, and he's not. And I don't understand why he's not doing better. There's just something that isn't clicking for the guy, and very, very disappointing. I mean, he's thrown for 958 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I mean, what the heck? It's just nothing. I mean, you haven't even thrown 1,000 yards, and you're halfway through the season.
And
it's not lack of talent. He has Josh.
It's not lack of talent. It isn't lack of talent.
Yeah, but
as far as execution and actually getting him, it's exactly.
Yeah, I don't think he picks up the mental. I don't know if he puts in the work. I'm not there at the facility, but you can tell he's not able to read the defenses. He's not.
No.
He's literally playing backyard football in the NFL, and it definitely shows.
And this is also coming from a guy who was just like, "Oh, I thought the NFL was going to be harder, bro." Okay,
shut up.
It's not that, seriously. Dude. It's not like we're comparing Patrick Mahomes to Anthony Richardson. There's no way you could do that when you have the mentality of a child. Anthony Richardson never matured at Florida. I don't know how he made it to the NFL other than throwing 90 yards from a standstill at his own pro day, which is a catered event anyways. He sucks. He's just in the same boat as Caleb Williams eventually in the next 2 years. The guy does not have the mental maturity to be a leader in the NFL. You are the quarterback. You are the apex. You are the guy for your offense, and you suck. On top of that, you have the worst completion percentage in 20 years. You can't even get to 1,000 yards. You have more turnovers than you have touchdowns, and you straight up quit. You suck. Just quit. Just go be a used car salesman and call it a day. You were in the NFL at one point in your life. Just own that and hopefully sell some used cars. That's how it's supposed to. Yeah, top 5 pick. Yeah. Here's the violin for you. Like, so can Jamarcus Russell. Yeah. If you're an Indianapolis Colts guy or fan, whatever, you're going, thank God we got Joe Flacco. And just going, okay, so how do we get rid of this guy? And if you're Jim Irsay, you're trying not to have a stroke because you accidentally said, yeah, go ahead and draft that guy.
They said they're going to keep him now. Like and there's a chance he could play this year again.
What, a tight end? Was he Tim Tebow?
No, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they can.
Put him at running back. Put him at running back. Screw it. Like, he runs better anyways. And if he gets injured, collateral, whatever. Like,
be good.
Yeah. I mean, also to put it in perspective, he's thrown 4 touchdowns. Bryce Young has thrown 3. So he's thrown
Bryce Young
more
also needs a step
than Bryce Young.
Offense,
and Bryce Young was
Cortland Sutton's thrown 1, so Cortland not too far away.
I'm not saying Brown's a better quarterback, for Christ's sakes. He's 1 for 1 with a touchdown.
Maybe they trade.
I do have a question for you guys. And this has been brought up to me throughout the week. Did the Bucks make the wrong decision and not go for 2?
Yes.
Yes, Todd Bowl has no balls.
You have you have the world champs on their heels. Baker Mayfield just left a beautiful game-tying drive right down the field. You have 30 seconds to go. Just, you know what?
Take
because
the risk.
if you go for it and you don't get it, everyone understands, because we saw what happened to Josh Allen when he gave Patrick Mahomes 2 seconds on the clock.
13. But
So
okay.
I understand. I'm still salty about that.
No, I agree. You never give
go for it.
the opportunity to give
and
Mahomes
the fact
the ball.
that Baker Mayfield, he called heads, it was tails, and his immediate reaction was
It's like,
oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Like he knew. He just knew.
Oh, our defense sucks.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. I've never I've tried to go I've argued with Scooter offline about firing Todd Bowles and everything else like that.
Come to the dark side. It's okay.
Fire him now, because there's no reason we should be 4-5. There's none.
I mean, they do lose their top receivers.
We gave up to Kirk Cousins.
So we lose our top receivers and we are tied.
Yeah, but the Chiefs, the top are a different
defense
team
in Chiefs Kingdom on Monday night.
The Chiefs have a top 10 defense.
They do.
We have a top 6 offense, and we still suck because Todd Bowles can't adjust ever. And the middle of the field again is wider open than name a porn star's legs. Like, seriously, there's a gaping wide hole that says throw here to Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, or throw a deep ball to... Dude, I'm so pissed off right now. And Kareem Hunt looks like Eddie Lacy ate 8 hamburgers and decided to smoke meth before the football game, and we can't stop the run, dude. Like, Todd Bowles needs to be fired. You are a defensive guru, and you let a mediocre...
Look what you did, David.
Dude, you got me ranting already.
You did this.
They are a bottom half offense, regardless. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes throws 45 interceptions. You still don't give him any light of day, and you decided to just mediocre to hand the ball off in the overtime when you watched the past 6 years of him win in the overtime against the Bills. Dude, suck it, Todd Bowles. You suck. I don't care if you're Matt Light or if you're... Oh, dude, I'm trying not to cuss right now. Todd Bowles needs to be fired. He sucks. He's a defensive coordinator at best. His record with the Jets and the Bucks are at least 500 or less. I will die on this hill. Fire Todd Bowles.
What Scooter said.
God.
You know, I know a good therapist, guys. I will send you the number.
No, we're doing good right now. I got at least 6. I got at least 6 beers deep now. We're good. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's probably more like 10, but whatever. Who's counting?
All right. Well, on that note, I think that this show is going to be over because this has been just something. There's been some left fields going on here. So, but let us know
if you are still... Welcome to the therapy session of David and Scooter.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, cheaper. All we need is beer and a camera. Just we'll be fine.
And next week we'll have any person that wants to be on and rant. Come on.
Hey, Floyd, you're invited again, by the way.
Special guest of the week. If you're the top comment, special guest, we're going to get you on, and you can have a 2-minute rant on what grinds your gears.
As a fan.
As a fan.
I would say we have a person who is a huge Chiefs fan, and I would be interested if anybody wants to drop in the comments to have what he would think about the bias. Is there a bias for Mahomes, the Chiefs? Is it kind of rigged for them? Like, kind of get his perspective. Just wonder if anybody else.
I know you're listening to this. Don't you lie. Don't you lie. Because I know you had 80 years of sucking ass, okay? And now everyone is kissing your ass and your quarterback's ass in the NFL. So don't you lie, Okay? We understand
he
the
yelling
position
at
that
me?
you are in right now.
There's so much anger going on right now.
See you next week, Floyce.
Yeah, right? On that note, check us out on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Dave, we love you. Welcome to the rant of Dave and Scooter, also known as the Beardzone Sports Talk. But on that note, everybody, Beardzone out.